Welcome to our training session on how to prepare trigger points for the Video Messenger HT5 series units. So let's get started. Uh, for those of you that are unfamiliar or haven't used the VMC Channel Manager very often, the process is to get your PowerPoints prepared or videos, choose a template, which we're going to show you how to do, and then download either via your LAN, the public internet, or a USB drive to your unit. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is go to the main menu and we're going to create a new uh, template, a new playlist. We're going to call it Trigger Event Demo. And then we create the playlist. Okay, so if you have a micro, you're gonna or a pro, you're gonna select the first box. If you have a video through unit, the second box. If you have a 4K unit, the third box. If you have an older H5 series unit, this system will still work. Just select all models, legacy models. All right, so I'm going to say continue. At this point, the software is going to say, okay, what template do you want to use? We have landscape and portrait. We have from 1 zone to 5 zone. Then we have some custom made templates, custom design templates, which are pretty professionally done, which you could, modify and edit accordingly. To keep things simple for today, I'm going to just pick a one panel landscape template by double clicking on it. Once it's installed, if you left click on the template once, okay, it'll put it in edit mode. Okay, so when you're doing a trigger event, all right, you may have one video or PowerPoint that you want to show when somebody presses a button, or you may have up to 10. Okay, so when you do a trigger event, you need a menu, and that's your default presentation. So I have a menu already prepared in PowerPoint, so I'm just going to click over here the plus key, and I'm going to pick that out. I'm just going to put this into a list. Okay, so I have a default menu here that I've already prepared. You could call this whatever you want. What I do is I stretch this out. You don't have to call it default menu. This is just one of our backgrounds that comes with the DVD in your package. You could use another background. It doesn't matter. Then once you're in PowerPoint, you just insert text boxes and write down your menu. So when you turn on the Video Messenger, this is what's going to stay up there until somebody presses a button. Okay. In this case, I just said, okay, button number 1, slide number 1. But that could be button number 1, our special red wine from Tuscany, and it'll show a video, or it'll show a PowerPoint presentation about it. Okay, so that being done, now I can go back to the edit schedule, and you'll see default presentation. Here's my button menu. Now I want to enable one of my buttons. In this case, I'm going to assume I have a 5-button panel that we prepared for you. It's just an accessory that you can order as an option. And it's connected to the Video Messenger via a USB cord, okay? So it says enable trigger. So I enable the trigger and then add trigger, okay? So I have some options here. I can call this button 1. And then over here I have a simple trigger, or I have a motion trigger. You also can have a motion detector on here. So if somebody walks by, boom, it starts playing a video. Okay? I'm going to call it a simple trigger, and it's trigger number 1. It's number 1, okay? So I say okay. At that point, it's going to say, okay, give me a template. So I double click on the template. All right, there it is. Double click on that. I install that template. I left click once, goes into installation, goes into the install mode. I press the plus key, go to my list. Now I'm looking for Atrium button number 1. Double click on it, it installs. I just expand it so it fills the screen, and you've installed your first button. Now, I've installed a PowerPoint slide, but it could be a video, it could be a PNG file, it could be a JPEG file, it could be a PowerPoint file, like I just did. Over here are your options. So it's set for 7 seconds. I can make that 10 seconds. Now, if you have a multi-slide PowerPoint, it'll play each slide for 10 seconds. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so I've done that. Now let's go back to the edit menu again. Okay, so there's my button number 1. Now let's add another trigger. I'm going to call this button 2. And there's number 2, simple trigger. Say OK. Pick the template again. Install the template. Put the template into edit mode. Select. So we know it's button number 2. So I'm going to go double click on that. And expand it. I'll set each one for 10 seconds. Default is 7 seconds. Okay. So now let's skip ahead to button 5. Okay, welcome back. As you can see, I put in, this is button number 5. I've went through the process, and now I'm going to just check each button to make sure that everything is okay. So up here you'll notice there's a little bit of a forward and back button, which is pretty handy, so I can hit back and go and take a look at this one, and whoop, I didn't put this at 10 seconds, so I could fix that. You can make that, by the way, as long as you need to. It doesn't have to be, you can go up to 9,999 seconds. I'm going to check button number 3 by clicking on it. Again, I didn't put it to 10 seconds. And check 2. I believe 2, we did it correctly. Okay, so I've got my whole presentation done. I got 5 buttons done, and I've got my default presentation. So as soon as the 10 seconds passes, or the length of the video, if you have a video down there, it'll go back to the menu default presentation, which is the menu. Okay, so at this point now I can just download it to my unit by clicking export to player, and it says, okay, I got one player on the line, and I said remove that from the playlist it was on and put it on this one, and it prepares it. It changes the PowerPoint into JPEG images, and it after it does that, it downloads it to the system. So after I show you this download, then I'm going to show you a presentation that we did a couple of years ago on a 10 button system, and to give you an idea of how this would work. Okay, so as soon as this downloads, I'll show you the default menu slide, which it should be up there as soon as this finishes downloading. and then we're going to move on to a presentation. So let's close this. Let's go over to our, so we've got the default presentation on the screen, and it's just going to sit there until somebody pushes a button. So this is what it looks like in operation. So just stand by 1 second. So let's take a closer look at the switches. The switches are momentary contact buttons, which are wired to a special interface board, which is connected via USB to one of our Google Android OS units, in this case an HD5 Micro. In this setup we have 10 buttons because this is for a 10 video project. For the demonstration we have set up 10 different PowerPoints which are scheduled to play for 7 seconds. Once the PowerPoint plays for the 7 seconds, it goes back to the default presentation. Normally the default presentation is a directory or a short video instructing the user which button to push for which video, which PowerPoint presentation they want to see. In this case, we're just using one of our stock PowerPoints that we provide with our units, and we put some text over it. So if we were to press button 1, the PowerPoint specifically programmed for that button comes up, and then after the 7 seconds it goes back to the default presentation, which in most cases is a directory telling people what button to push. We sell these systems to museums, retailers, showrooms, in most cases car showrooms, where we could show a video of a specific model by just pushing the button. So again, if I push button 10, that particular button plays. In this case, playlist button 10. So it's a pretty simple system. It's straightforward. It's very easy to program. Once you set up the program, to switch out videos or PowerPoints is just a matter of replacing the PowerPoint or the video that was there already. Thank you very much. If you want more information on this, please, you could call us on our helpline 203-358-8842 and dial extension 1 for our sales department. You can also email us at vmc@videomessenger.com. That's VMC like Victor Mary Charlie at videomessenger.com.